Friends, how's it going today? I just want to talk about something that as Christians I think we often get confused about and don't really know how to make it out, and that's the will of God. And sometimes we just say, hey, everything's God's will. The good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's God's will, and that's how it is. Or we might say, you know, even when bad things happen, I don't understand it, but I believe that that's God's will, and I'm going to run with that. Now, there's a few issues with that. Sometimes the problem is that we're right in suggesting that, and sometimes the problem is that we're wrong in suggesting that. And other people, other people may suggest that, well, I don't really know, so I'm just going to have faith that God's in control because you can't know what God's thinking anyways. And there could be a little bit of truth in that as well. We have to believe that God is who He says He is, regardless of our situations. But we can absolutely know more than what we know right now. So I just want to talk real briefly about the will of God. A few things. God wills things to happen, absolutely, and nothing happens outside of the will of God, but that doesn't necessarily mean that God would desire an event to happen. And what do I mean by that? If you want to take some type of incident of I don't know, just tragic loss, and you want to look at that and you say, well, was that within the will of God? Yeah, it was within the will of God because God is sovereign, but it doesn't mean that God would have desired that. And so how does that all work together? Well, it works like this. Within the sovereign will of God, He's given humans the opportunity to impact and have effect on the way that the world works out, for the good of it and for the bad of it. And so as humans, we have impact and effect, and the fact that we would have impact and effect is under the will of God. Now that doesn't mean that everything that we do God would smile upon and say, well, that's great. Sometimes that impact and effect can be really negative. Now just really quickly, on the other side though, there are some times where God does root out things of our life, and He takes things out of our life, and it can be painful and it can be hurtful, and God is doing that because He wants to take the path of least resistance to bring the most amount of glory to His name and have us walk out in the life that He would have for us. So sometimes when negative and bad things happen, it is in fact that God is doing that to elicit a heart reaction from us, because that's the easiest and most painless way, although it hurts at the time, that's the most painless way to do that. And at other times when bad things happen, it's because as humans, God's will has been that we would have impact and we would have effect on the world, and so through even the negative choices somebody's made, that's impact and effect. And that's how God has chosen to work, by giving us free will. So that's kind of how free will and the will of God works together in conjunction. Hope that brings some clarity to you as you're looking at situations in your life and around the world going, how can God still be in control? So thanks for watching, and if you have any comments, certainly please do leave them, and we can get into a little bit more discussion on this. And thanks again, this has been Don the Sign Guy. Thanks for now.